wasn't me. Oh boy. Just broke some glass, stayed up for an insane amount of time trying to get a website up and rolling by today so I can get some ads going. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about, but I'll see what happens. So really the goal of this, I don't think I'm going to be sharing anything in any of this. It's really just to get better at communication, flowing, communicating ideas, articulating them with brevity, and yeah, I don't really have anything else besides that. Let me just go and close all this shit out, and then I'm gonna. All right, some things that I would like to discuss. All right, so one thing I want to talk about is sales and comparing online metrics that you can get from social media, from your website, anything digitally versus the sales process offline, so in person, and going into, okay, Ryan Deiss, I think he's the founder of Digital Marketer, along with Russ Henneberry, and so he was the first person that exposed me to the idea of basically all of the business owners or all of the people that are out there marketing that are just running ads saying buy my stuff are essentially going up to people, they're seeing them for the first time. Like me running an ad to all of the, if you know anything about Google Ads, you can target queer, like there's exact match, phrase match, and broad match. And so if I do exact match or phrase match, and then the term is like garage doors, and then I pull up for that on like a phrase match. So someone types in like garage door, Las Vegas, best spring replacement. I could still come up because I've included garage doors in my keyword. So anyways, that's way too specific, doesn't even matter. But my point is, if people are seeing you for the first time, you shouldn't be asking for money. What you should be doing is doing everything that you can, similarly to how I would view developing a relationship with someone. Like if there's someone that's worth developing a relationship with, you want to do all you can to like give, and do everything you can to get them to feel like they need to reciprocate. Not always is it the case where you're like doing all of these things because you're looking for it to be reciprocated. But if someone is a high value individual or someone that I want to be associated with, or I want to have a relationship with, partnership, business, whatever it is, I'm not going to be sitting there asking. I'm not going to be doing that, especially like if I went up to shake someone's hand at like a networking event. Would it be okay for me to just say, "Hey, I see that you're the CEO of, I don't know, X Fund. Well, I have this." Like, not even asking questions, not even asking for any context, not even knowing who it is, seeing a logo, seeing a name, seeing a face, and saying, "Hey, you have a business. I want to do business with you. Do you want to buy my shit?" Not even knowing what the business is. That's essentially what most people are doing on the internet with marketing. Now people are starting to get a little bit smarter and starting to use data and things like that. Actually, one side topic is that I've been thinking about is like, I don't even know if it's really worth local business owners, like smaller maybe not just mom and pop shops, but people with less than like 25 million a year in revenue. That's just a BS number, but it's like big enough to be important within an area specific. So my dad owns a company here, and he does around that, and he knows people. He has a very good network, and he matters. Like, and I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to use the information that I have to help, I guess, create the scenario for you. I struggle to know if they're going to get scooped up by a private equity firm obviously, like, no deal's going to happen without private equity firms coming in. Like, you can't force a transaction, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And so my worry is that private equity firms are actually going to come in, scoop up, aggregate all the companies, create, unified brands. They're going to take like 12 companies, scoop them up, unify their data, gather all of those insights from the marketing, sales, operations, all of those different things, the customer data, run that through AI machine learning processes to understand who the most valuable customers are, when to sell to them, all of that good stuff. And being siloed, being one mom and pop shop, you don't have enough. Well, okay, this is just an assumption, but usually you're not using that data. You don't know how to use. You don't even know that data has utility besides just being able to reference it for records, for, I don't know, getting audited or something. But there's a ton. Like, you can be analyzing email communications, text responses, email opens, which audience segments on Facebook or any other social media platform, or even Google or other search engine. Like, what are all these things that are happening before people take action? Who are the people that are taking action? What are the things that happen prior to them taking action that is at least somewhat valuable? Like, maybe they buy something cheap and then they. So I'm bouncing all over the place right now, but I don't really care. I'm just trying to see if I can communicate effectively on camera, like in my body language and stuff. But if I can get something out of this, awesome. If you look at the customer value journey, which another reference to Ryan Deiss, he's the first one that showed that to me. The first thing is people have to even like see your brand, and like see you on the internet. That can be, I said on the internet, but it can be on or offline, right? So the first thing is people have to know that you're fucking there, right? Before they can do anything else with you, they have to like, oh wow, he exists. Right? So that's the awareness stage. Engagement is where you're trying to get people to like, comment, subscribe, follow. You could call a follow a subscriber, but I don't consider that a subscriber because they're not on your email list yet. All they've done is follow you on an intermediary platform that you don't control the followers of. Like, it's not like everyone that follows you on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, like, it's not like they all see everything that you post. It's very, the algorithm, I don't know, it filters out a lot of shit, and you're not very likely to see, unless you put it on a list or something like that on Twitter, you're not going to see all of your friends' posts. You're going to see what you reacted to, more of what you reacted to, more of what you shared, all of that. You're not seeing your friends' stuff. You're seeing more of what's going to keep you on the platform and keep you engaged and keep you sharing and keep that fucking feedback loop that all of the FANG companies and all the social media and all the big boys, you know who they are, keeping that data flywheel running. Amazon, Google, Netflix, Facebook, Instagram's the same thing. TikTok's disgusting. I hate TikTok. And it's ridiculous how much adoption it. Anyways, so getting back to the customer value journey side of things. So like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever. So there's awareness, which is, oh wow, they saw me. That's called an impression, right? Someone saw my ad, someone saw my video, someone saw my post, anything like that. That's awareness. Engagement, again, like, comment, subscribe, share, save. I don't know if you can track saves. I'm not sure, but any kind of interaction, it's engagement. Okay. Next thing, let me just verify. But after engagement, then it's subscribe. But just to be safe, I am going to check. Yep, I'm pretty sure it's convert after that. Yep, let's see. All right, yeah, so we're engage, subscribe, convert, okay? And even trying to get that down, like they get into ascension and abdication and promoter and stuff and trying to like increase lifetime value, but most people, they need help with understanding how to get people to go for, like, the other thing too that really bugs me is people don't think through marketing and developing relationships online like they do with people offline. You go up, it takes time to get to know someone. It takes time to get comfortable with someone. It takes time to, you know, get someone comfortable enough to give you certain types of information, let alone hand you some cash. So what I would really like to discuss is just how important it is to give as much value as possible and create a fuck ton of valuable content at the top level. So Jeremy Haynes, he's a guy that I've learned a lot from. He's probably, in my opinion, one of the best digital marketers out there. He has a company or an agency called Mastodon Marketing, and they only work with companies that, anyways, he's really good at marketing, really good at what he does, and he understands how all of the platforms work very, very well, and he understands how to utilize data very, very well alongside that. And so I guess the simplest, what I'm trying to start doing, and eventually I want to be doing this with private equity firms alongside creating value with some other companies that I'm associated with and have done some work with in the past. What I'm really trying to do is get down content marketing and get down like really, so people know how to create content. First of all, there's a huge amount of friction in creating good video content. And good video content stands out like a fucking sore thumb. People notice that shit. If you have crispy video, crispy audio, and then you have subtitles and good transitions, you are capturing attention. It's not just another video. It's like if you look at Refine Labs, Chris Walker, he's super, like he uses a company called Hatch, and they do his content and micro content and stuff, and chipping that up and then adding all the subtitles, and they're even getting to the point now where they're creating like custom like animations based off of the concept he's talking about to try to get the visual learning aspect along with, like if I'm just, you're looking at me right now, I'm talking, I'm using my hands and stuff, but there isn't visuals to go along with what I'm talking about to solidify the things that he's discussing and to help crystallize that in your mind as far as like something that you've learned in the past. And so they're getting really good at understanding how to create the most valuable content, and they're partnered up with Refine Labs. So if you want to know what crisp, good content looks like, go check out Hatch and go check out Chris Walker or Refine Labs. They are doing, especially on LinkedIn, go check them out. They're phenomenal. So getting back to the sales process and doing content right, Chris Walker, again, and Hatch, they do it really well. But going back to Jeremy Haynes and his approach, the thing that sucks is I can't give the one size fits all. One size does not fit, like hardly, it doesn't fit all. That's the bottom line. You need context to know what to do to create a plan that is effective. If I were to take an e-commerce brand and then take a SaaS company that just went through their Series C and try to give them the same plan for acquiring clients or customers, completely, like it's completely different. I know that sounds very obvious, but I've obsessed over trying to figure out the best approach, and there is no template. You can create a template from a niche or an industry or like a certain type of client that you're trying to acquire for a company on a repeatable basis, recurring basis, whatever you want to call it. If I want to get the same kind of client a lot across the US or even across the world, it's easy to know one avatar, knowing how to message them, knowing what their pain points are, knowing what their dreams are, knowing what they really, 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 really want, knowing what their situation is like, so you can speak directly to them. And Ryan Dice even said that when he creates his ICP or customer persona or avatar, he actually goes and prints out someone that he thinks is representative of or looks like the person that he's trying to talk to as far as the persona goes. That he looks at that photo when he's creating content. He thinks about that when he's creating written content. And this was like probably 4 or 5 years ago. He's probably using ChatGPT now with video and doing a bunch of AI shit. But back then, visualizing the person that you're trying to do business with and trying to sway them to take a certain action or do a certain behavior, which is download a resource, get in touch, do something that furthers that relationship. Knowing who you're talking to and having a visual representation of that person helps a ton. I can't remember where I was at with that before the avatar, but I was talking about the sales process, the journey, creating content. I don't know. I'm just going to start a new thought around the sales process. That's annoying. I'm going to go back and be like, um, I actually do think I remember. So there's no one size fits all approach, right? But what I do know is that something that everyone can set up is you need to do, like, if you're a startup, you don't have any customers, you don't have any clients, you don't have anyone that you can go to and ask, like, hey, why do you like the product? Why do you not like the product? What would you love to see added? You know, if you're not at that stage, you're still trying to figure stuff out. You have no money, you have no data, you have no customers, like you have no momentum, right? And that's probably the hardest stage. But once you start developing relationships, getting clients, asking what they do and don't like about the service, the way you do business, the product, whatever it is that you have to sell and that your business revolves around. The first thing I would say is if you did have clients, you need to research and understand them to a T. Like, why did they pull the trigger with you? What was the differentiation? Did they not give a shit? Okay, move on. That's neutral data. It doesn't even matter because they just pulled the trigger on something. But if there was like a key feature that 30 or 40 out of the 100 people that you talked to was like, yeah, that's what sold me, that's something that needs to be talked about more in messaging. So just stuff like that. So customer research and really understanding what sold the people and then incorporating that into your marketing and sales going forward is important, in my opinion. I haven't, and just so you know, I also want to add context that I'm 27 years old. I don't have I think I know customer behavior pretty well, but I know that I'm also very, very, very biased, and I think I know how shit works, and I think I know how everyone's mind works. That is not the case. I'm speaking with a lot of conviction right now. I believe what I'm saying, but I'm just letting you know, just trying to be objective and honest and give you as much context as possible. I believe this. I've seen people talk about it. I've seen experiences. I know people that have experienced similar stuff. But for me, 27, I don't have the experience that a 40, 50-year-old does to have watched human behavior over 20, 30 years in an industry and know exactly how to go to market for a specific vertical or in a specific geographic region or anything like that. So all of this stuff, I believe, but again, could be wrong. It all comes down to iteration, creation, testing, and optimizing from the data that you collect. So anyways, I don't have any kind of crazy credentials or anything like that. I've taken a ton of courses. I have worked on a lot of projects, but there isn't anything I've just taken by the balls and really just fucking won with. My business partner said that I just go get the biggest fucking dub rather than just taking all these small dubs, which I agree with. Just a little side note. All right, getting back to the fucking topic I was talking about earlier is the fucking sales process. So I'm just going to talk about the concept. So really I'm not going to talk about customer research anymore, but we want to know the customer. So we're going to pretend that you know the customer very well. You know what their wants and needs are. You know what their dreams are. You know what their fears are. You know their demographics, firmographics, psychographics, communication style, personality type, introvert, extrovert, all of that shit. We're going to pretend you know all of that stuff, at least for your ideal client profile, right? Okay, well, the first thing that I want to do is think about, I can't bring in anything into the frame. Actually, we're just going to fuck around and see it. I'm going to record on OBS really quick. But the first thing I want to think about is getting all of the people that I would like to do business with, that I can go through LinkedIn. If you guys have not ever used Facebook or LinkedIn or X or TikTok for targeting and trying to find people that fit the criteria or match and align with the people that you want to do business with, you need to go toy with that, because as soon as I looked at the interest targeting that Facebook has, I was sold. I was like, if this shit really works, they have this data, I can segment my people. I can literally go tell Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, all the social media platforms, I can have a piece of code installed on my website that tells them, hey, just so you know, this user just took this action, so I can let LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok all know, okay, they converted. Don't show these ads anymore, right? So I can set up if-then statements, right? So I can set up a shit ton of, so basically I want a bunch of awareness content out there driving people to conversion content. So I want people to get warmed up to me, like me, trust me, know me, think I'm an authority of some sort, or think I'm some sort of information resource, someone that they can go to trust in some capacity, or maybe they just like my content. I don't know. As soon as I can get that, then I can push them towards, and there's a lot more that goes into the awareness phase, but it's basically what I want to do. And the Jeremy Haynes that I mentioned earlier, he came up and coined this term called the Venus flytrap. And basically what it is so one huge problem that I see right now is, just like I mentioned before, actually I wrote about this, I don't think I talked about it, but what's happening and why people get so mad and think marketing fucking doesn't work or it sucks is because basically, again, going back to the whole people are trying to go up to someone and like ask for money or do business with them immediately without even having a conversation with them, it's very, very similar. And that's why people are paying so much. So what's happening is there's no one spending time trying to effectively distribute content to be trusted and learned from and followed and subscribed to and liked and commented. Everyone's trying to win at the bottom of the funnel when everyone's racing for the quick cash or let's just say this. I could go and pay $150 for a conversion just by competing on Google AdWords for a very specific high intent long tail keyword of some sort. I'm not going to go into the details of that. You can look it up. You just look it up. I'm not trying to sound cocky, but I just want to finish my point. You can compete on that, or you can go up the funnel, know who your avatar is, know where they're hanging out at, do the research, do the hard work to be able to start distributing content effectively. And so, you have to create really good content that is actually impactful or has value to the people that you're trying to do business with, and get them to want to watch more of your stuff. That's like the first step is getting them to want to watch more of your content or consume more of your content. That could even be them subscribing to an email newsletter or subscribing to your blog or something like that. It doesn't have to be video. There's a lot of introverts out there that still read. But the first thing is to get people that you want to do business with to want to watch or consume more of your content and feel like they're getting value from consuming your content. And that could be B2B, that could be B2C, whatever it is. And the next step is so creating good content and then organically posting that, but then reposting. So it's kind of like the chicken or the egg situation right here. I can post on social media and then hope that it picks up and pops off, or I can go and pay for that same post to be seen by the same amount of people as all my other posts and see which. So if I get, 50,000 impressions on 10 different posts, but one costed me, 10 cents per 1,000 impressions, and another one cost me 70 cents, and they were similar pieces of content, similar targeting, in the same layer of the funnel, something's working versus another. And honestly, I've again studied the shit out of this. I've not had the experience of having that much awareness content out there, but that's actually what I'm doing right now with the podcast studio and Hiram and even myself, is I'm going to be testing this method. And it's worked for a ton of other people. Jeremy Haynes, he's validated it. He gave it to all of his. Anyways, this shit works. Like, get people to watch your shit and then create custom audiences using Google Tag Manager. This is actually, I should probably document this. Okay, you need Google. Let me finish my first thought first, because I really want to go into the problem and help you solve it. But before I do that, awareness content, and then what happens is you're trying to show them a bunch of content, right? So you're organically posting, paying for those posts as well, seeing what hits, what doesn't, and then paying more for the stuff that hits. And, awareness content, I'm not asking for anything on the awareness. I'm sending them to a click to learn more or watch a video or, something like that. I'm literally wanting them to want more from me, but I'm not giving them anything. That's kind of how, I know it's kind of counterintuitive, but creating that curiosity and tension between there's even running an ad on Instagram, but not having an Instagram profile is somewhat I've found myself actually being I can't find any more about this person. I start to dig, right? So that's just something like a behavior that I've seen in myself that I've been self-aware of. I don't know if that works for everyone, but it's something that got me to want to find and know who the person is that just served me this ad, especially if it was a good one, to actually validate what they're doing, get more information on them. Not because I thought that I was going to do business with them immediately or ever, but just because I was very, very curious. And I want to create as much of that tension and emotion that I find myself having when consuming content in other people and in my sales process or my marketing process online. So that's why I mentioned that. But yeah, getting them to watch. So say you have 10 pieces of content, right? They're all between 15 and 60 seconds, right? And you're trying to get people to watch 3 or 4 of those 10 awareness videos that, and you know for a fact that after someone watches 50% or more of 3 or 4 of those videos, that they're going to know you enough, have seen your content enough to be familiar enough with you to go for a soft ask, like it's not even really an ask if you do it right, but going from the awareness engagement and then to the conversion stage. So conversion is when someone hands you their information, is like, hey, you got something I want. Typically it's like a checklist, a template, a webinar or something. Like you fill out a form, then you get access to something. It's called gated content, right? That's unless you make, Hormozi talks about having such a good offer that it's difficult to say no. And so that's similar to how I think about this. Is you can go and kind of create a little bit of a shitty lead magnet, and you think it's adding value, but in all reality, unless someone's really trying to solve a massive problem or achieve a certain thing, and they really think that your shit's going to help them, oftentimes when people fill out a form and then get an email with that shit downloaded to them, I'd actually be curious to know how much of that actually gets consumed, but I doubt it's more than 30%. Let me see. Let's see. That is not what I was looking for. Sorry. If I don't find it in 30 seconds, I will jump back. All right, so this is a stat about apps, but I'm sure it's similar to downloadable content, if not more. So it said during 2012 to 2019, so it's probably even more prominent now. 25% of apps downloaded by mobile app users worldwide were only accessed once after they've been downloaded. That's pretty crazy. Only necessary. Shit, I can't find it anymore. It's paywall. All right, I'm going to stop right there. But you get my point. So you want to create something, very, very appealing to someone that is your ideal client profile or one of your ideal client profiles, that they're like dying to give you. Like I want to get them to be like, I'll give you all the information you want. I'll give you money for that too, but I'm not going to ask for money right now. I'm going to use that for something called a tripwire offer. I'm going to give it to them for free, but then what that allows me to do is now they give me their email, their phone number, their first name, last name, and maybe some social handle or multiple social handles. And guess what? Now I have permission. Now I don't have to rely on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any other social media platforms. Guess what? I can text them, I can email them, I can contact them and communicate with them directly one-to-one with no, obviously there's Gmail and like text messages, but that is the closest thing that you can get to as far as like owning the communication that you have between you and your clients, or you and your prospects, or you and your contacts, right? We'll just call them contacts. They've given you their information. They've also consented to communications with you. You now can go, you don't want to go crazy with this. A lot of people are desperate. They're antsy. They want the fucking win right now. You have to nurture the relationships, and everyone goes through the relationship development process in different times. A lot of times it just doesn't pan out. Maybe they don't do business. Maybe they're not, they're depressed. Maybe they have some family shit going on and they fall off, but everyone has their own shit going on, and you have to be patient. You have to be continuing to think about how you can add value to your communities and your clients' lives, so that you don't turn anyone off. If you're out there, if I saw someone asking for shit all the time, it's the complete opposite feeling I'd get from someone asking what they can do to help, or like if they want, something. Like if I brought a bunch of food and I didn't know someone was around, and maybe I thought I had like 3 or 4 friends, and then they brought 2 more, I'd be trying to figure out a way that I can like share that with them. You know what I mean? Like I know that's a very bad example of it, but just trying to give as much. So again, you develop the reciprocity, you build up the reciprocity to the point where it's like boiling over. And hopefully eventually those people that you're just giving to without you even keeping track of how much you're giving come back to you. That's actually the most, in my opinion, the most energy efficient way to do it is like, how much can I give to humanity and then just not think about the return? That's where I think, like, how can I add the most value? Who can I help the most? What are my skill sets and natural curiosities and passions? I also, like, if you're not familiar with Naval Ravikant, highly recommend. Also, I've already mentioned Hormozi, highly recommend him too. Those are 2 people that I've consumed a lot of content around. Yeah. So anyways, give as much value as you can, and that's how you should be thinking about stuff. Like, don't be fucking lazy with trying to develop your sales engine. And I know I'm not in any position, like I haven't grown a massive company like I mentioned before, but I believe in all, like, with everything inside of me, that what I'm telling you is true. And I may be corrected later on down the road. We'll see. I'll make a video then that says, hey, I was fucking wrong. But that is how I feel. That's my truth for right now. And so I'm going to continue down the path of sales, and then I'm actually going to get into the how-to. So let me see. How much time do we have left? 42. Okay, we should be good. Okay, so creating a lead magnet. I'm just going to, if this is used at all, I'm just going to link a fuck ton of resources to this video. Okay, so how to create a lead magnet, not going to go into it, but in my opinion, rather than just like a checklist or something, a quick win, I'm trying to, and I could be wrong, Digital Marketer makes it like simple quick wins. Oh, I just want a template to achieve this outcome. Excuse me. It makes it easier to identify intent that way, but what I want to do is bundle up like, hey, what's a massive problem they're dealing with? And then what's a bundle of shit that I can just throw at them and they can just kind of just go ham, and then come back to me if and when they want help with the implementation of all the shit that I showed them how to do, right? That's my goal. Even if I get 1 out of 10 people to come back and do business with me, I'm giving value to people, and then they're going to tell other people about it, hopefully share the stuff. It's about creating quality stuff and building quality stuff and sharing with the world. So that's how I think about there's 2 sides of me about the lead magnet. But, and this is a step I don't think you need, but I do think, like, in certain situations, and I've thought about this, it's not like I have 50 case studies to say whether or not this worked more in certain scenarios for certain industries or whatever. But there's something called a tripwire offer, and Ryan Deiss is the first person that I know of that coined that term, or that used that term. May not have coined it, I'm not sure. But basically what it is it's something that after you have permission to contact the person that gave you information, like their email, phone number, first name, last name, maybe some socials, in exchange for some sort of template checklist or whatever it was that the lead magnet was, now you're trying to get them to not just give you information, now you're trying to get them to pull out their wallet. Like, I know we don't even want a lot of money. We just want them to say like, yeah, I'm interested enough to give you money for this. And then what that is basically like a qualification step. It's really not even about the money or the revenue that you're driving from that. It's more about, hey, this dude's more serious than the people that just wanted the free shit and didn't want to spend any money on trying to solve the problem, right? So hopefully that makes sense. And then after that, I'm not going to get too much into the weeds of it, but that's really it. Creating good content to the point where, and another huge part of this is Google Tag Manager, and I'm working on this right now. Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, and all of the social media profiles or accounts, or business profiles that you guys run. You guys need to make sure that your data on your website, like when you're driving traffic to a website, you need to be like, if you're not connecting like HubSpot to your website and having the forms be filled, go into your HubSpot and then basically stitch that data up so that you can see what these contacts that were on your website with no form fill before. So I guess let me back up a little bit. When someone usually comes to your website for the first time, before they fill out a form, guess what? I still know, Google knows and HubSpot knows the IP address of the user. They just don't have that information yet. So as soon as I get a form fill, I know what this user has done in the past that led them up to them filling out the form on my website. So now I can go, if you use something called Hotjar, look at all of their sessions. If I have a paid plan, I can go and look at all the stuff that they did. Not that you have the time or resources or energy to go do this, but you can go get very, very, very granular with the data that you use to make informed and insightful decisions, macro. I'm not saying granular one-on-one behavioral analysis on what they clicked on, where they hovered for how long on mobile versus desktop, on Wi-Fi versus not, whatever it is. I'm not saying doing that for one, but looking at that kind of data in aggregate and making sure that you have your stuff and your data set up to where if you start doing campaigns and you start trying to generate revenue by, having a sales process set up, but you don't have your fucking data right on your website and you don't have it, synced with your CRM, you don't have lead scoring. Not that most lead scores are really worth a shit anyways. I'm not going to get into lead scoring, but you can look that up as well. But if you don't have stuff set up to collect data on your people, you are literally missing out on probably the future of business is going to be the people that have data that can help predict the future, that can then make better, more informed decisions about what to do and what not to do. Like, it's going to get down to, hey, should I even be messaging this customer? Like, I'm working with a company called Wrench AI right now, and we can tell if someone's going to adopt a specific type of product because of, I'm not even going to try to explain Wrench AI. I'm trying to cut myself off before I ramble more. But I really think that in the near future, people are going to be ranked. There's going to be a massive amount of prediction. I think that it's going to be biased, and I think that we're going to not overcorrect, but we're going to steer one direction and just trust AI and trust the black box and say, oh yeah, and then it's going to just be extremely biased. So that's a problem, but I also think that the people that have the most data that utilize it correctly and have clean data as well, massive amounts of clean data, they're going to get they're going to get the insights and the behavioral analysis at scale or at like a macro scale that they need to make better, more informed business decisions that are more optimal than their competition. Because if you're not using data for, again, like for me, I've heard Chris Walker talk a lot about this, and I agree with it. I just haven't been in a corporate position. I've spent a lot of my time just trying to do my own thing, work on a bunch of different projects. The longest I've been somewhere was like two and a half years in a marketing agency, and then that was it. Now I have my own projects doing stuff for different people with all the different skill sets that I've developed. And I'm going to be getting into private equity now. I'm getting personal, but I'm telling you that because I don't have 20 years of corporate experience doing any of this, just like I've mentioned like 3 or 4 times now. I just want to make sure that people are taking this for what it's worth. So going back to what I was talking about earlier, which is Data will win. Like if you know how to track the data, like you know how to properly identify what things you want. So for instance, actually not going to go. I'll go into the how to in a second. But data is going to allow you to win in business in 5 to 10 years. If you don't have your fucking data right and you don't have predictive models and stuff set up, depending on how big of a game or how high of a stake, depending on how high stakes the game that you're playing in is, like if you're trying to compete with other private equity firms with the same vertical or same industry, and they have more money, more companies, and they can scoop up more companies to acquire more insights to make better decisions, not just in one local region, but in like a whole national or international. Like this right now in the next couple of years is what's going to define who wins and who all of the players will be and who won't be, and who's going to be basically a slave to society, because there's the wealth gap, but also the knowledge and skill and just value gap in people is going to continue to widen. There's some people that are sitting while I'm making this video, people are scrolling TikTok, fucking eating McDonald's, watching Netflix, not thinking about tomorrow, right? I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know some shit's going to hit soon. Like there is something rumbling. Everyone feels it. It's not looking pretty. And so I'm trying to do everything I can to get as healthy as I can, get as financially well off and as in control of my situation as I can be. This may be a little bit personal, but I actually just left my girlfriend to focus on work, because I really feel like next couple of years is going to really define whether or not I can provide for a family and give my kids a good education and make sure that they're not getting, shit food, shit information, and no time with their dad. So, and dad's mad at mom all the time. Like if I'm going to have children, I want them to have my attention. I want them to get taught right, raised right, and that's probably having a family and a solid family, like the Atomic family, like that is probably my biggest goal, is to, have one of those, which is going back to why the money thing matters so much, and control and the big players and getting involved with the big players so that you can play with them. That's what I'm focused on. So I can't remember where I stopped. I can't remember what I was talking about. I have some how-tos on there. But I think I'm going to call it for right now. I'm just going to go watch this. I'll have some other stuff. And if this is worth watching and I watch it and I think it's decent, I might start making more. No, I am going to make more. I'm going to stick with this. I'm just so curious to know how many times I said like and how long the longest pause was in this video, because I'm extremely tired. And I just said fuck it. I just want to record some stuff just to see what it looks like. Because this is actually the first time I've recorded in the Pod Lab, the studio. So, just curious. All right, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We are out. Hopefully, you see me some more soon. It's awkward because I still gotta get up.